7-Eleven Eve.
What's up guys, it's Pliskin Boy here, and I'm sure those of you that have been around long enough are aware of my tumultuous history with Resident Evil 3. You know that I love the remake, you know that I eventually finished the original, but I had this year-long hiatus between it because of this thing. A lot of my ideas and thoughts on PlayStation 1 versus Nintendo 64, looking and judging games from the 90s in general, is based around a lot of my experiences with Resident Evil 3, because after all, that was my very first PlayStation 1 game that I got because I liked the remake. I think that in concept, Resident Evil 3 is the coolest Resident Evil. That's a big part of why I like it so much, the idea that you're in the middle of a city breaking down in a zombie apocalypse. It's not like, oh, it's just the introduction, you see the outbreak and then you fast forward a whole bunch of years or a couple months, or you're in the woods. No. You are in an urban center when the shit is going down and you need to stack up on supplies and weapons and try to fight your way out. That is so cool to me. And for the most part, it's a pretty unique setting to Resident Evil 3. Because most zombie games end up being like crafting and survival mechanics and all this kind of stuff. But that initial kind of fight, that initial kind of chaos and panic that you have to try to see your way through and somehow manage to survive when all of the odds are against you is really freaking cool. And Resident Evil 3 really kind of hammers down on this.
I fucking love Tame Impala. Hey, Super Cop, how many people you think are in Tame Impala?
I don't know, maybe 4?
It's just one guy, isn't that crazy? Wait, hold on, let me pull them up.
Like I said, I've beat Resident Evil 3. I had to play it on easy mode because without the extra health packs and stuff, whenever there were roadblocks and boss fights, I needed that extra little oomph with ammunition and health, because the dodge mechanic is very kind of wishy-washy in regards to working, and since I feel a lot of the game is balanced around it, it's kind of problematic. You balance your difficulty around a mechanic that works when it feels like working, and you get a lot of deaths in situations that feel unfair, just generally like bullshit. But yeah, I beat Resident Evil 3, I love it, I go back and I replay it, and to this day, Resident Evil 3, 1999, and the Resident Evil remake are some of my most favorite games that I have ever played.
That's it. That's it. Oh my God!
Those of you, again, who have been on this channel for a while also know my tumultuous history with PC. I grew up being really into consoles. I had bad experiences with PC when I felt like I lost a lot of my friends to PC, as we stopped having split screen parties and all this kind of stuff, and it became just everyone playing online and barely even seeing each other. But then eventually, as this current console generation really went to shit, aside from Nintendo, and Xbox and PlayStation really just kind of betrayed the standard of quality I felt they had been upholding for the most part, it really just kind of dawned on me that, hey, maybe I really should give PC a try. And ironically enough, I find more of the stuff that I used to love about consoles on PC. And one of the first PC games that I really started to play and get into was Left 4 Dead. I think I've been playing it for about a year now, and oh my god, I have so much to say about this game. Okay, first off, the elephant in the room. The footage is really weird. You see, whenever I try to record Left 4 Dead footage on my computer, it just kind of contorts the screen and makes it look like this. Like it's all up in the top left corner for some reason, and that doesn't look very engaging to watch, so I've kind of just stretched it out. For that reason, I don't know if I'm gonna make too many Left 4 Dead videos until I figure out how to record this better, but for now, I really want to make this one video, so, at this point, technical issues is just a part of the channel's vibe. You either fuck with it or you don't. Left 4 Dead has definitely been one of my gateways into PC gaming, but more importantly, it's been one of my gateways into modding. With Left 4 Dead, it's a Valve game, so you can mod it directly from the Steam Workshop, and there's so many crazy things you can do. Character skins, weapons, and entire campaigns. And that's what today's video is about. My favorite mod that I have experienced in any game on PC is a Resident Evil 3 campaign for Left 4 Dead 2. So I don't know the author's name as I'm recording this, but I'm going to put their name here on the screen. But they've basically recreated every single level from Resident Evil 3. And it's not like it's just kind of a run-of-the-mill Left 4 Dead level where you just kind of fill stuff up with gasoline canisters or whatever. No, they actually have put in the effort to make the pacing and actual level design feel like a Resident Evil game. How exactly have they done that? Well, you have to find and create certain pieces. For example, like the lighter that you have to use at the beginning level of Resident Evil 3 to open a door. That's one of the major puzzle pieces that you have to put together in the first level. Later on, there's actually puzzles directly from Resident Evil 3 ported into Left 4 Dead 2. And it's surprising to me how well some of these work within Left 4 Dead 2. Of course, there are some discrepancies, but for the most part, this is a pretty true-to-life recreation of Resident Evil 3. So there's 3 areas that I'm gonna talk about for the sake of this video, just so it's not too long. I'm gonna talk about the starter downtown area, I'm gonna talk about the hospital, and then I'm gonna talk about the park section. The starter area really sets the tone strong with a intro cinematic, very much like a normal Left 4 Dead campaign. The area is immaculately recreated, and when you fight your way to the warehouse, you can even see certain nods to the actual game. You have to find keys and unlock your way through different areas. You fight your way through here, you fight your way through there. There's even a really cool nod to the costume room from Resident Evil 3, where there's a bunch of different Easter egg items and weapons. Since you don't really find a lot of crazy weapons in this level, it's a cool way to integrate that bonus room. There is a little bit of a glitchy would-be jump scare where there's supposed to be a witch inside this one room. However, every time you try to open the door, the witch almost dies every single time. Like I said before, you have to find all the pieces to create the lighter, and that acts as what triggers the horde. As you go throughout the level, you'll find that the weapon placements, the actual puzzle pieces, and just the way it feels is very similar to Resident Evil 3. Of course, with the more action-heavy pacing of Left 4 Dead 2. It even ends off with you getting into the RPD, and then there's a lot of creative ways that you have to do puzzles in there. For example, one puzzle where to put in a key code, you need to use your computer's actual keyboard to do that within the voice chat section. So it takes even Left 4 Dead's mechanics where, you're just typing to people that you're playing with, and it integrates it into the mod as something that you actually have to use to progress. Moving forward to the hospital section, right off the bat, it's really cool because it reuses one of my favorite set pieces from Left 4 Dead 2, where you see the original cast there and they actually help you out. Basically, you make your way into the hospital, and it's a pretty good one-to-one recreation of the hospital. It even uses the Source Engine's kind of janky physics for one of the puzzles that again mirrors Resident Evil 3 very closely, and a lot of the environments and a lot of the set pieces have been reworked to more so fit Left 4 Dead 2. So for example, in the basement area of the hospital where Carlos would normally have to fight hunter betas, you have a witch and a hunter within these glass tubes, and when you solve the puzzle, they come out and you all have to fight them along with a horde. It's a really well-paced level, and towards the end of it, to get into the safe room, you even have to fight a tank that comes out there, and your crew, or the original crew, helps you fight that tank and take it down. But perhaps because I don't want to talk about every level in this mod because I don't want to spoil it, but the best example of just this mod working really well is probably the park section. This is where that one puzzle that's literally ripped from Resident Evil 3 shows up, but this level also showcases what happens a couple times throughout this campaign, where like Resident Evil 3, you get these choice sections that influence how the rest of the campaign goes. The path you take, how much opposition you find, puzzles, yada yada. So here, towards the end of the park level, similarly to how you fight Nemesis on the bridge here, or you run away from it, you get a tank that comes down. Please ignore Careless Whisper, I have a lot of mods going on here, as I'm sure you can see. The tank comes down, and then you have the option to either fight it or run, just like you would with Nemesis. So yeah, I wanted to make this video and really just bring the point up that this isn't just a visual representation of Resident Evil 3 within Left 4 Dead 2, this is actually taking mechanics from Resident Evil 3 and putting them into Left 4 Dead 2. I applaud the author, and if you have Left 4 Dead 2, I really recommend trying out this mod, especially if you're a fan of Resident Evil 3. And if you haven't played Resident Evil 3 and you don't like the Resident Evil formula, this is a really good way to experience some of those like iconic vibes from Resident Evil 3 in a game that might be more up to your standards. Anyways guys, I'll probably make more videos about mods. Again, I probably won't make too much with Left 4 Dead because this weird screen aspect ratio thing, but I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
This is Solid Snake. Hey, subscribe to Pliskin Boy. God damn it.
You heard him.
God damn it.